Hey, well, it's Saturday and I am out in my building cleaning and organizing a little bit. And I decided it was time to go through my survival stuff and make sure everything's current and in date and I have everything I need. Now, when I say survival stuff, I mean stuff that you would need on hand in case we have something like a hurricane or a major power outage. If you lived through Hugo, you know exactly what I'm talking about because some of us were without power for 10 days and had no way to cook or wash clothes or any of that. So anyway, I keep this stuff on hand just in case another situation like that arises. And first of all, before I show you everything that's in my little survival kits, I want to tell you also that I keep a propane stove on hand at all times with lots of propane in case I need to be able to cook outdoors. And I keep an ample supply of bottled water. Also, in the house, I keep a go bag, I call it, with a change of clothes for me and my husband and all the medicines we would need in case we would have to leave in a hurry, like in case of a wildfire or something. So, but anyway, we're going to go through all of my stuff that I keep in my building today and make sure that everything's current and up to date. And I know all of you are wondering why I've always got this around my neck. This is a walkie-talkie, and my husband is just across the yard in the house, but he has a hard time using a phone, and he's disabled, so he can call me on the walkie-talkie if he needs me. So this works out great. It gives me some time to get out in my building and have a little me time. All right, I'm going through all of my survival stuff that I keep on hand in case we have an emergency. And most of this is for a typical power outage emergency or something like that. So in this first book bag, or little carry bag, I've got first aid stuff. Now in the first aid, I've just got Band-Aids and rolled gauze and antibiotic cream and tape, things like that, in case someone would have a minor injury. Now I know you're wondering why I've got black pepper in my first aid kit. This was just more or less a demonstration for my grandkids one day when we were going through all this stuff. Black pepper was used during the Civil War to stop bleeding in an open wound. So I keep that in there just to remind us about what was useful in our history. So I also have a bottle of pain reliever. I have batteries of all kinds. Now, take stock of what kind of flashlights you have. Make sure your flashlights or your lanterns are in your survival stuff, and fresh batteries for them. And you need to go through those batteries about every 6 months to make sure they're still good. So I've got batteries for all my flashlights. I've got an extra pair of reading glasses because if something happens to my glasses, I can't see a thing. And then over here, I've got peroxide. I've got a bottle of alcohol in here, more Band-Aids, more rolled gauze, and another little pair of foldable glasses. So that's one bag. Now in this other bag, I have more batteries. I have a can opener. Believe me, I learned this the hard way. We went camping one time and took all kinds of good canned food so that we could eat for a week, and no can opener. So make sure you've got a can opener. You need a good lantern, and make sure the batteries are good in it. And then you'll need, I've got some dried fruit and some bottled water. So you need to make sure all of that's in date. Now we'll go through the bucket. All right, this first bucket is just non-perishable food. So it's stuff like canned chicken breasts and tuna and Spam, if you like Spam or treat. I've got dried Crowder peas and beans in case you want to make a campfire and cook a real meal. Then I've got honey so that you'll have some kind of sweetener. If you tried to keep sugar in one of these buckets, it would more than likely get ants in it and it would be ruined. So honey will last forever and you can keep it closed up good. Another little tidbit of information, honey is good for wounds. So if you get a cut and it's having a hard time healing, you can pour honey in that cut and it helps it heal faster. Now in this other bucket, this stuff is kind of extreme survival stuff. And the reason I have all of this is because a couple of years ago, I have 2 great nephews. They're both teenagers now. But several years ago, I decided I would buy them book bag and fill it up with survival stuff so that they could go camping in the backyard or fishing or whatever. And it would teach them a little bit about what they needed to survive in case they had a situation. So in this bucket, I've got a survival knife. I'm not gonna pull that out. Fire sticks. These are just little fire sticks. I think they're cellulose or something. They help you start a campfire. A fire starter in case you don't have matches. And then that's a little chainsaw. It's actually a chain, but you can use it to saw down a small tree if you needed to. Then this is, I have 2 or 3 of these in here. It's just a pill bottle filled up with cotton balls, and they're soaked in alcohol. So this serves 2 purposes. Not only does it help start fires, but it also serves as first aid in case you get a wound or something that you need to clean out with alcohol. Then I have several beeswax candles in here. And these are just pure beeswax with a wick in the middle. And I put them in all kinds of little containers that have a lid. They last a lot longer than a regular candle. This is a life straw, and a life straw is used when your water's contaminated. So if something happened and the creek down here was contaminated and I couldn't use the water, I could use the life straw to drink it through, and it filters out the bacteria in the water. And like I said, all this stuff was just for them to teach them some stuff. This is a 4-in-1. It's a compass, binoculars, a mirror, and a magnifying glass. And then you never know when you're going to need some carabiners or something. Got another little lantern. And always make sure, light these up, make sure the batteries are still good on them. This right here is something everybody needs. This is a P38. If you're military, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, you may not be familiar with it, but it's a can opener. And my husband still has the one that he carried in Korea. Look at that. It takes a little muscle to open a can with this, but he still carries his P38 in his wallet that he carried in Korea in 1969 and 1968 and 69. So that would be something you need. And then I've got duct tape. Never know, you might need duct tape for something. So I'll go through all of this stuff today. I'll make sure everything's current and the batteries are still good and the food's in date. And if it's not, I'll switch it out with fresh stuff, and we'll be ready for whatever comes along.